Ich begrüße aufs Herzlichste unseren Freund und Kollegen aus Spanien, den Parteivorsitzenden der Partido Popular. Wir freuen uns, dass Pablo Cassado uns zugesagt hat, zu uns gekommen ist und mit uns diese Klausurtagung bestreiten will. Wir haben beide zur gleichen Zeit Anfang Januar die Corona-Infektion Gott sei Dank gut überstanden und ich freue mich, dass du gesund und munter jetzt bei uns sein kannst. Uns vereint seit vielen Jahren eine gemeinsame Sicht auf die europäische Entwicklung. Wir haben in unterschiedlichsten Ämtern in den vergangenen Jahren Kontakt miteinander gehabt und sind beide als begeisterte Europäer daran interessiert, dass unsere Parteienfamilie in Europa ein starkes Gewicht hat und dass wir daran arbeiten, Europa enger zusammenzuführen. Wir haben richtige Entscheidungen getroffen in der Vergangenheit, auch mit den Milliarden, die notwendig sind, um Europa aus der Krise zu führen. Wir wissen, dass Spanien auch besonders darauf angewiesen ist, aus dem Programm der Europäischen Union den Restart, das Wiederaufbau zu organisieren, der nach Corona, nach der Pandemie notwendig ist, so wie das viele andere Länder im gleichen Maßen trifft. Und wir alle profitieren davon, wenn die wirtschaftliche Erholung in Europa sehr schnell vonstatten geht und alle die gleichen Chancen haben, an das Wachstum der Vergangenheit anzuschließen. Der Wohlstand in Europa hängt davon ab, dass der Binnenmarkt funktioniert. Und der Binnenmarkt funktioniert am stärksten, wenn alle eine gleichgerichtete, positive wirtschaftliche Entwicklung haben. Ich freue mich, dass du zu uns gekommen bist, lieber Pablo, weil du Großes vor dir hast. Wahlen stehen im nächsten Jahr an. Es gibt schmerzhafte Erfahrungen aus der Vergangenheit, die die Partido Popular hinter sich gelassen hat, auch mit der Abwahl des Ministerpräsidenten Rajoy. Da war eine schwierige Phase. Du hast der Partei neue Kraft gegeben, du hast der Partei den alten Stolz zurückgegeben und du hast die Partei in eine Situation gebracht, die bei der nächsten Wahl gewinnen kann. Aktuelle Umfragen zeigen, dass ihr meist vor den Sozialisten steht und deswegen wollen wir auch diese Entwicklung positiv von unserer Seite begleiten. Ihr habt vor kurzem die Region Madrid erfolgreich zurückerobert mit einem sensationell starken Ergebnis. Das hat sehr viel mit deiner Person als Parteivorsitzender zu tun. Das ist ein ermutigendes Signal für uns in ganz Europa. Und du musst wissen, es gibt auch natürlich so eine Art lange Tradition und auch Orakel vielleicht. Wer als Oppositionsführer bei der CSU im Deutschen Bundestag war, hat in der Regel die besten Chancen, Regierungschef zu werden. Von daher, wir wünschen dir sehr viel Erfolg bei dieser Aufgabe.
Thank you so much. Danke, Alexander. Sorry, I don't speak German yet, so I will extend my gratitude to all the CSU group in the Bundestag and also to all our sister party. And I'm really especially to Alexander. We met, I think that was 3 years ago, in a plane, traveling from, I was from Finland to Leipzig to attend to the CDU Congress. Actually, I've been with a new CDU leader, with Friedrich Merz, and I also have the best wishes for him. And for me, it's an honor to be here in this meeting. We couldn't do it possible about a year ago that Alexander invited me to the Oktoberfest. That would be also a good thing to do in the future. But I just want to say that you're doing an extremely good job in the Bundestag. And for the People's Party in Spain, it's really important that our partners here in Germany, that we share the same commitments, the same principles, the same values, the same vision for Europe and for Germany and for Spain, had the best result in the next elections. I know that Germany will face several state elections in the next months. Also in Spain, we will have a regional election in Castilla y León, which we usually say that is the Spanish Bavarian, because the People's Party has been in office for a long time. That will take place the next February the 13th. We also had a successful elections in the Madrid regions, and we will have actually other elections in Andalusia, which is another region that they call the Socialist Bavarian in Spain, but we are in office for first after 40 years. Which are the topics we're going to discuss today, and why the CSU and the People's Party are such a needed political forces for the future of Europe? Well, first of all, as Alexander has said, COVID. I think the COVID perspective from the European institutions and the member state has been successful. We have been forced to face the most difficult times of peace with the pandemic. The problems in Spain, we have a huge affection with 100,000 casualties, people that has lost their lives due to the virus. And I would like to send my tribute to all the German people that has died for this region. And I think Ursula von der Leyen has done a great job in the vaccination program, and we hope that we can recover our economy and our social strength after this pandemic. One of the things related with that is the European funds. The PP in Spain, but also the EPP in Europe, with the CSU, of course, are asking for accountability and transparency for the use of the European funds. It's a really needed program overall for a country like Spain that had a huge consequences in our GDP and our employment for the pandemic. And we think that they should be used to improve the competitiveness and the structural reforms of the member state, lowering taxes, doing a more flexible labor market, and reducing bureaucracy of the states and giving more power to the entrepreneurs, to the companies of the fourth industrial revolution, and of course for an industry that has to be really strong. That would be the third issue I want to say. Today we have known that the European Commission has established the nuclear power and the gas as green sources. And I have to say that for the People's Party in Spain, this is the right decision. We have to lower the cost of energy. We also want to have a green transition, but not causing problems in the labor market and the industry competitiveness. And the last topic I would like to say, if I may, is the geostrategic perspective of Europe in the Ukraine crisis. I think we have to strengthen our position in the world. Of course, backing NATO in all the decisions they will make in this conflict. We really hope that everything gets solved in the next days. But at the same time, I think Europe and the member states have to realize that we have to pay for our own defense and to be influent in the world. And that's why I'm suggesting that NATO can enlarge, not only for the countries in the European continent that want to ask for the entrance, but also for other powers like Japan, like Australia, like India, strong democracies that seek the same principles and share the same vision of the world in these tough times. So that would be the 5 topics I'm going to address and discuss with my colleagues of the CSU. And I thank Alexander again for his hospitality and for the invitation in this important event.
Ja, Herr Dobrindt, bewerten Sie die Taxonomie auch so positiv wie Pablo Cassado? Und eine Frage an Pablo Cassado: Wie bewerten Sie das Ergebnis der Wahlen in Portugal? Wieder hat ja eine sozialistische Partei gewonnen, wie zuletzt ja auch die SPD in Deutschland.
Wir wissen, dass es, was die Energieversorgung in Europa angeht, große Herausforderungen gibt. Und ich habe wenig Verständnis dafür, dass die Bundesregierung einen europäischen Vorschlag angreift, ohne zu sagen, wie man an anderer Stelle in einem europäischen Energiemarkt die Energieversorgung sicherstellen könnte. Wir gehen einen singulären Weg in Deutschland, indem wir aus der Kohle und der Kernenergie gleichzeitig aussteigen. Das führt aber zwingend dazu, dass wir stärker auf Stromimporte angewiesen sind, als das in der Vergangenheit der Fall war. Ich bin auch nicht bereit, eine Lesart anzunehmen, die von Seiten des Bundeswirtschaftsministeriums verbreitet wird, nämlich Deutschland sei Stromexporteur. Das stimmt nur dann, wenn man eine Jahresrechnung aufmacht. Eine Betrachtung in der Realität jeden Tag, jede Woche und jeden Monat sagt deutlich, dass Deutschland auf Importe angewiesen ist und seit diesem Jahr, nämlich nach Abschalten der Kernenergie, also weitere Teile der Kernenergie zum Ende des vergangenen Jahres, ist diese Situation, angewiesen zu sein auf Stromimporte, noch deutlich größer geworden. Und dieser Realität muss man Rechnung tragen, und deswegen ist es grundfalsch zu glauben, man könnte unsere Entscheidungen, was den Energiemix in Deutschland anbelangt, auf alle anderen europäischen Länder übertragen. Das ist schlichtweg nicht möglich. Und deswegen muss es eine Bereitschaft geben, dass wir den unterschiedlichen Energiemix, den Länder in Europa für sich entscheiden, auch positiv begleiten und nicht mit politischem Handeln der Bundesregierung, indem man versucht, diese Fortführung von Kernenergie, darum geht es ja in den meisten Fällen, in anderen Ländern Europas zu verhindern, mit einem Ergebnis zu kombinieren, das heißt, dass die Stromversorgung bei uns nicht mehr gesichert ist. Und deswegen ja, es hat noch Veränderungen gegeben bei diesem Vorschlag, gerade auch was den Bereich des Gases anbelangt. Und ich glaube, wir sollten deutlich konsilianter mit diesen Vorschlägen umgehen, als die Bundesregierung das tut, um eben die Grundversorgung von Energie in Europa nicht zu gefährden.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, the results, of course, we have to respect it and congratulate Prime Minister Costa for a great majority. But at the same time, of course, as the EPP family, we preferred the results in the Lisbon elections with our colleague that got the city hall. So in the presidential elections, our party didn't won the elections. So it's really important, as I said at the beginning, that the EPP recover the government in the main countries. Not only in Germany and Spain, also France, Italy, and of course Portugal. In Spain, for example, now we are ahead in the polls, and this is the first time in our history that only 3 years after losing government, that party gets first impulse above the current government. That is because the current government, the socialist prime minister, in coalition with the Communist Party, in my opinion, is not doing the right things. And one of the issues that the Chancellor Olaf Scholz discussed with Prime Minister Sanchez just 2 weeks ago is the economic policy. Antonio Costa in Portugal did also, being socialist like Scholz, a different economic policy than what our Prime Minister is doing. For example, Scholz talked about the recovery of the growth and stability agreement, and we agree with that. I think the European Union has to recover his own rules after Corona and has to be more competitive. One of the things I have discussed with Friedrich Merz and I hear from Alexander and also from Markus Söder is that Europe has to be competitive. And I don't know if you remember several years ago that we reached an agreement in Europe about the Lisbon agenda. And it was a smart perspective that said that if Europe is the best place in the world and we have the best welfare system and the best rule of law, we have to be able to afford it. And we have to be competitive. And one of the problems we have now, and we're here in Berlin, in Germany, is that we are losing competitiveness, even in our typical markets like car factoring. We're talking about European funds, but we're not talking about building semiconductors factories, for example, in my country. I think, or talking about the fourth industrial revolution, I think those challenges is what will make us more useful, and I'm sure if the PPE, the EPP, and our countries face those debates about creating jobs, about giving opportunity to the young people, preserving industry, and doing an energy transition not that hard that the Greens of the Socialists ask for, that would be useful, and then we will recover our government, not repeating the result we had in Portugal last week.
Mr. Cassado, the president of the region of Madrid, which belongs to your party, kept the city quite open during the corona crisis. Do you recommend other countries to follow this way of resolving the corona crisis? We in Germany, we have still lots of rules, but there is obviously another way of doing it.
Definitely. I think it was a successful way of facing COVID. And it was a balance between lives and jobs, health and economy. It depended on the waves. The first wave hit really badly to the Madrid region, so we have to follow the same measures of the national level. But from the second wave of Corona, we tried to balance how could we overcome the crisis, the health crisis, without devastating the labor market. As you may know, Spain is the worst country in the European Union in the unemployment rate. We are now above Greece for the first time in many years, and we have a great problem with a 14% of unemployment rate, and Corona has hit pretty hard to this market. That's why I think the Madrid solution that was also following the rest of the PP regions, for example, Andalusia, has been showing a really good figures of employment through this pandemic. It's a good way of dealing with that, but I mean, all the countries have different circumstances, and even every region has different average of elderly people, hospital capacity, or even demographic concentration. In Madrid, we are really concentrated, I suppose, like in Berlin, Munich. That's why it was more open than other regions in which we don't have so many people living in the same city.
Vielen Dank. Perfect, thank you very much.